What's up YouTube and welcome back. Today we got another airsoft gun review. Today we're going to be looking at this piece right here. This is the Echo 1 Red Star Romanian Covert AK. It's another variation of the AK47 or AK74, whichever you want to call it. It's made by Echo 1, or Echo 1's a Chinese company, I would say. And overall it's a pretty nice build on the gun. It shoots pretty hot, which you'll see in the chrono test. But without further ado, let's just jump right into the review. Alright, so we're going to stick to the normal here. We're going to start from the back to the front. This is the stock on the Echo 1 Romanian Covert. As you can see, it's a wire folding type stock. It does have a little bit of play in it all around, but it's overall really sturdy. Everything on it is steel, even the housing unit itself, the button, everything's made out of pretty good material. Now this little damper here, this is a big piece of rubber, and basically what that is used for is so when you do fold your stock, that little rubber piece will slam against the body instead of the steel stock, so you don't end up with scratches on your gun. And that's a really nice feature I thought that they included with it. Now if you want to fold your stock like you just saw there's a little button here. You just have to press it in and it'll fold to the right side. It does lock into place very well when it is out or collapsed, so you don't have to worry about it moving out on you. One thing I found that was nice was you don't have to push this button to release it. It does make it easier, but if you need to, you can just rip it out and it'll come with pressure. So overall, pretty nice. It does have a little bit of wobble, but it shouldn't break on you. And also you can see here you do have a 1-point sling mount on the left side of the gun. So moving on to the right side of the body, there's not too much different from a standard AK. You have your selector switch here. It functions as it should, clicks into place very nicely. It does have an issue with safety though. So you can see it doesn't go up all the way. I'm guessing the gears inside aren't meshed together properly, but we'll look at that when we take it apart. Keep it on semi-auto for now. One thing I noticed about the body and the upper cover here was that it all was covered in a slight rubberized paint. When you feel it, and if you look up close to it, you can see the slight scratches, but there's like a rubberized coating to this gun. And that can be a pro or con to some of you, but I kind of like it. It just adds a different feel to the gun. You have the saw style pistol grip down here. It's a little bit bigger than the traditional AK style pistol grip. Some people like it, some don't. You have your bolt here. Pull that back and it'll expose your metal hop-up unit. And as you can see on this gun, the bolt does not go back all the way like most AKs do. That's because this is an electronic blowback gun. And I'll show you how to disable that or enable it and show you what it's like when it's shooting. But right now let's check out the steel parts on the gun. As you can see, the main body, good to go. All the fake rivets, also steel. Selector switch, selector cap, slightly. The top cover, the bolt is not steel. And then the trigger guard and trigger right there, that's also steel. And then you have your front turning rail or front turning system here, which is not steel. Nothing up here is steel. So let's flip it around and look at the other side of the body. Alright, so onto the other side, not much different from a standard AK. As you can see, you have the standard side rail mount here, which is riveted into place. It's not screwed in like I've seen some other models. So it's very secure, it's not going anywhere. It's not steel though, there's a slight magnetism to it, but it's probably just a lower quality metal overall. And as you can see up here, you do have some Echo 1 trademarks. They're very reflective and very flashy. And they say Red Star, Sem USA, or Semca 762x39. And then you have Echo 1 with a serial number on the bottom. I don't know if that's a unique serial number or not, but pretty much a standard side to the AK. Alright, so moving on to the front end of the gun here. It does have the polymer lower handguard with a 20mm rail on the bottom. And it also has a 20mm full top rail on the, I guess, top handguard. The handguard's a little bit different. As you can see, it extends much farther than it should. That's just the way they designed it. It looks pretty cool though. It gives it a definite unique look to the gun. It has a standard back leaf sight like most AKs do. It is painted white, as you can see there, so the numbers are clearly visible and easy to read. You do have these small little rails on each side, so you can add like a flashlight or laser if you really wanted to. I don't see the need why though. And then you have the front sling mount here. Not steel, it's an aluminum, but it's pretty beefy, so it should hold the weight of the gun relatively easily. You got the outer barrel here, which is ribbed, or I think that's what it's called, but it's got, you know, threads on it. It gives it that sound. That's what they do to the most real guns. You got the gas block here, aluminum, front sight, aluminum, which is riveted, or has these pins in place, which are metal, as you can see there, but the actual unit itself is aluminum. And then the flash hider here is 14mm, or the threads are 14mm counterclockwise, and it has the traditional muzzle brake on it, which is painted black. So overall, a standard front end. It's got the rails, which are nice, and just gives it a different look overall. Alright, and just a quick look at the underside of the receiver. As you can see, you have the metal hop-up unit here and the quality control sticker. One thing Echo One does really nicely is they put all of their guns to a really rigorous quality control, so you have a less chance of getting a lemon right out of the box. That's one reason I like Echo One a lot, is because of their quality control. Now, other than that quality control sticker, as you can see, they don't have the 4 screws here, so it is modeled after a VFC or LCT. It's not a TM clone, which thank God, because if it was a TM clone, I fear that this would be a really bad gun. But yeah, just a quick note there on the hop-up and cloneness. Alright, so now we're going to chronograph the Echo One Romanian AK47. We're using a 9.6 volt Intellect battery with ICS 0.2 gram BBs. And here we go. 453, 447, 441, 449, 438, and 439. That's a pretty hot firing gun for it being stock. Let's check the rate of fire out. Let's do a full auto with the 9.6 volt battery. So it looks like it's around the 700, 750 rounds per minute range. It's pretty respectable. It is pulling a pretty strong spring as well, so you have to keep that in mind. But overall, pretty hot firing gun. It's got good performance. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys how to get to the gearbox in your Echo One Romanian Covert AK. Now, out of all the AKs I've worked on, this one is actually really simple to get to the gearbox. It's a matter of removing 3 parts. First thing you want to start off with is take your top cover off, remove your battery, remove the magazine, make sure everything's safe before you work on your airsoft gun. Next thing you're going to do, after you've taken your top cover off, is you'll want to remove the bolt spring, or spring guide assembly. All you have to do is push this in and lift up, alright? And that'll remove the spring and a little metal piece there. After that, you have to remove your selector switch right here. And this end cap, all you have to do is unscrew it. I made the mistake of thinking that it was one of those that actually pried off, which revealed a screw. So that kind of puzzled me at first, but it's just a screw all the way through. Once you remove that screw, you can remove your selector switch, and then this small cast piece, and then this brass cylinder. After that, you're almost done. What you want to do next is you'll want to unscrew the pistol grip screw and remove your pistol grip. There's a Phillips head. You want to remove the screw all the way, and then after that your pistol grip might be a little tight, but it should just slide off. You might have to wiggle it back and forth, like so. Now from here your gearbox is pretty much ready to come out. One thing you'll want to do is you will have to remove the hop-up arm, or the hop-up stop. It's this black L piece right here. The easiest way to do that is just to get a flathead and basically just pry it out of the gun. Like so. It's just a plastic piece. You won't want to put too much pressure on it or you'll break it. From there you can slide your hop-up assembly forward as far as it will go, and then from there your gearbox will basically just want to slide out, as you can see here. Now since it is an electronic blowback, you will want to be careful because when you slide it out, the bolt will want to come with it. So it'll take a little playing around with. But after a while you will get it free. Just like that. As you can see, you have this metal bar here. When you first take this apart, these pieces are more likely about to go flying, so don't worry. But you'll have the metal bar with the small black end, the bolt itself, and then the gearbox. Alright, so now I'm just going to take a quick moment to show you guys how this blowback system actually works, and I'll show you how to disable it if you wish. So basically you have the gearbox here, you have the rod, and then you have your bolt handle. Now when your gun's all put together correctly, this rod is going to be inside this little slit in the gearbox shell. And as you can see, it slides back and forth. Now how the blowback works is the piston catches onto this black piece. So every time the piston comes back, it's going to pull this piece back with it, which in the front, see that little hook? That hooks right into the bolt. So every time that piece goes back, the bolt's going to go with it. So when it's all put together, it sits somewhat like that. So it folds back like that. Now if you want to disable this feature, all you have to do is remove this little metal piece, which I recommend you do. What you have to realize is now not only is the motor going to be pulling the piston, but now it's also going to be pulling the weight of this metal piece and this heavy bolt. That just put extra strain on the motor and the piston. So my recommendation would be just to remove this. Yeah, it's cool and all having blowback, but it's not worth putting more strain on your motor and internal parts. But yeah, that was just a quick note on the electronic blowback. Alright, so we got the gearbox apart here. I took the liberty of skipping through the part where I, take the other side of the gearbox shell out, but let's go over the parts one by one. You got the motor. I'm pretty sure this is equivalent to the JG Blue short type motor. JG makes pretty good motors. This one's no exception. It's got really high torque, half moon shape, pretty standard. Gearbox shell is standard version 3. As you see, you have Echo 1 markings and an O2C. The OEM behind this company, or the OEM behind this gun, is SEMA. You have 7mm metal bearing sort of bushings. They're kind of a hybrid. They have little individual, I guess, bushings inside of each other. The grease job wasn't too bad. I found there's that classic Chinese toothpaste grease everywhere, but it's not as bad as what I have seen. There are shims too. This gun is pretty nicely shimmed, I will say. Spring guide is all metal. It has bearings in the back. It has a free-floating shaft as well. The spring is probably around an M130, I would say. It does shoot around 450 FPS like you saw in the chronograph video. Here's the cylinder. No ports. The air nozzle is clear. No internal O-ring. But I will say, the gun gets pretty good stock compression with the piston, and it has a great retraction speed, which is pretty nice. So overall, the air seal on this gun, flawless. Standard Chinese piston, no second to last tooth removed, one metal tooth in the end. Ported piston head. The tappet plate here, standard white, pretty flexible, nothing too much. I'm going to leave the gears and anti-reversal latch in there. They're just standard, no marking steel gears, standard ratio. They get the job done. But other than that, what? C+ maybe? I mean, it's got some pretty good parts in it. Wouldn't hurt to upgrade it. I mean, piston definitely being one. Clear air nozzle, never been a fan of these cheap things. Spring guide was nice. spring. If you like a hot firing gun, it could be nice, but on most fields, you're not going to allow to use a gun that shoots 450 FPS at full auto. The motor was good. You won't have to worry about that unless it burns out. So I mean, overall, it's, you know, what you would expect from a Chinese-made gun, maybe a little bit more.
So in conclusion, the Echo 1 Romanian Covert AK is definitely a competition or competitive rifle out there. It gives it a different look on the outside than most rifles would. As you can see, it's got that traditional AK look, but you can deck it out kind of like we have right here. And it gives it a unique look out on the field. And not only that, the tolerances on this gun are really nice. I really didn't find anything where the pieces were loose or there was anything wobbly. Everything's just really tight and put together very well, so that's a definite plus. Now internally though, it'll probably last you for a while. Everything seemed really solid, it seems shimmed very well. If you do buy this gun, one thing I would recommend is disabling that electronic blowback feature. It'll just save you hassles longer down the road. But that's really my only recommendation of this gun. Run a 9.6 volt battery and this gun should last you for a good long while. But yeah, overall for what you pay, you definitely get your money's worth. Echo 1's outdone themselves with another marvelous AK, internally and externally. So with that guys, this has been the review of the Echo 1 Romanian Covert AK, and stay tuned for more videos.